Howdy, Vine Trippers. I wanted to take just a moment before the show begins to tell you a little bit about the Texas Wine Lover website and app. It is a definite must-have for anyone wanting to explore the Texas wine industry. Now, they have a website. It's txwinelover.com, but they also have an app that you can actually download to your phone. You can find it on the Apple App Store or on the Google Play Store for Android devices. And it's going to be kind of your one-stop shop for when you go out to visit these great places. So you get to listen to them here on the podcast or watch them on YouTube to learn about these wineries. But when you go to visit, make sure you're checking out that app, because I'm sure you're probably going to want to visit other places in the area as well. And you can do incredible searches. It's the most comprehensive listing of winery information in Texas. And you can look for wineries in your area to go visit multiple places. You can sort those listings by finding out ones that are kid-friendly, maybe some that are pet-friendly. If you want to look for events or things that are going on, if you want to find those that can host RVs, just about any category you can think of, you can actually sort those listings and find wineries around you to go visit. The app is free to use for you and I. So it's a perfect, again, hand-in-hand tool when you're going out to visit wineries. Listen to them on this podcast, watch them on YouTube, and then start making your plans to go visit and use the Texas Wine Lover app when you go. Now, it can also be a great tool. Maybe you're not even looking for a winery. You just happen to be traveling to some place in Texas, and you just might think, I've got a little extra time. I wonder if there are any wineries in the area. You can actually look them up in the Texas Wine Lover app. You can search either by the name of a winery, or it's got a map view. So you can actually pull up a map of the area around you and see locations of wineries near you and go visit them and support the Texas wine industry. So you got to use the Texas Wine Lover app. It goes perfectly with this podcast. So make sure you check it out before you go on your next trip among the vines. Again, it's www.txwinelover.com, or look up the Texas Wine Lover app on your favorite phone app store and make sure you get that downloaded and use it frequently. You will benefit from it and ask for Texas wines. Let's see the Texas wine industry prosper and go visit some of these fun places that I'm bringing to you on the show. Texas Under Vine, an exploratory podcast to scout out the best that Texas wine country has to offer. I'm your wine guide, Scott, and I'm here to lead you on an auditory expedition to the vineyards and wineries across the great Lone Star State. Each episode will cover a different vineyard, winery, or wine-related business operating in Texas. You'll hear interviews, descriptions, and details about each location that will excite you to visit and experience them for yourself. Ready to plan a wine tour? Use these episodes to choose the most interesting spots for you and your friends to check out. Most of all, enjoy hearing about the rapidly growing wine industry in the state and what makes our wines and wineries the best. Howdy, fellow Vine Tripper. Welcome to episode 76 for the Texas Under Vine podcast. And at this point in time, we're getting into the spring season, and boy, there's a lot of events and a lot of festivals and things like that coming up. So I'm not sure yet. I'm still planning out my calendar as to what I'm going to, what I'm not going to, but you should be looking at that. And a great place to do that is the Texas Wine Lover app. There's a great podcast, Texas Wine Scene, by Michael Cole, that does a great job of filling in events and things like that that are going on. So check those things out, but there's a lot of places that you can go this spring as the weather breaks and the flowers come out, and it's just really that beautiful time of year to enjoy some great wine. Also check the local wine association in your region. Here in Central Texas, in the Hill Country area, it's the Texas Hill Country Wineries Association, and they do a passport in the spring. They do them several times during the year, but this is another time with wine and wildflowers. So there's always a lot of stuff going on. And if I do decide to pull into a festival somewhere, I will try to let you know beforehand, but that's really going on and you should check that out here this spring. Now, for this particular episode, I wandered down back into the hill country and went on down the Wine Road 290 a little ways till I got to the little town of High, Texas. And from there, I took just a little side road off to visit Portree Cellars, which is just off the wine road a little bit. And it's a really cool little winery there in High. And I'm excited to be able to share with you the story of Portree Cellars today. Now, this particular property is owned by Mark and Janet Miertschin, and they actually came out of the energy industry living in Houston when they decided to dip their toes into the wine business. They purchased this property back in 2019, and they planted their first vines there in 2021. Now, if you do the calculations, we're now in 2026. Most grapevines start producing around their third year and really start to get to their full harvest around their fifth year, which is sometimes referred to as the third leaf and the fifth leaf of a vine. And so they're getting into that right now. They're getting their first fruits off of some of these vines that they can actually make some good wine from. So there's some really exciting things going on with their estate and some of the new wines they're bringing in now that are actually made from grapes grown right there on their property. And on that property, they have about 28 acres, and they have about 7 acres planted to grapes. And of those grapes, the various varieties they have planted in that 7-acre vineyard are Tannat, Aglianico, Malvasia Bianca, Fiano, Touriga Nacional, and Mourvèdre. Now, after buying the land and planting the vines and trying to figure out making wine, they started making it in their home, as a lot of winemakers do, but knew they needed to expand that when they planted this vineyard and they wanted to make a winery out of this whole property. So they knew they needed a little bit more space and a little more help. So they actually joined in with the Kerrville Hills Incubator Program, which is a really cool program. You'll learn more about it at a later time, but a really cool program that they do at Kerrville Hills to bring up the next generation of winemakers. So it's a shared processing space. They can all work together as they're making their wines. They learn from one another. They don't have to build a full production facility up front, but they can actually make their wines there and learn how to kind of do the marketing, do the winemaking, do all the things that are needed to establish a really great winery. And they're going to learn from their peers and the mistakes that they're making, and they're going to share their stories and the things they've learned. And so it's a really great program to bring up these new wineries. And the next thing on their production schedule is to build their production facility. So they've made kind of smaller steps as they've grown and grown over the last several years. They've been making wine mostly from grapes from the High Plains and other places in the Central Texas area. They are 100% Texas and pride themselves on that. While they've been waiting for their own estate grapes to grow there in the vineyard so they can start making those wines, which now, again, they've had those first fruits and they've started making those wines. They're starting to come to fruition. And so it's a really exciting thing if you go to Portree Cellars now, because you're going to start to get to taste some of those estate wines and really get a feel for the terroir, what the grapes and the wine taste like that grew right there on that property. Now, in addition to the wines, you may wonder, where did the name Portree Cellars come from? Well, Janet shares a little bit in the interview, but it's actually from a little Scottish village. They went on a family vacation to the Isle of Skye and fell in love with this little village called Portree, and the cairns, the stacked stones, and other things. Just really loved, had great, great memories from that trip and from that location. So when it came time to name the winery, they wanted to name it after that little village as a reminder to themselves of that amazing trip they took. And fun fact, Janet, in her spare time, is also a painter. It's one of the things she loves to do. I find that creative people typically look for lots of outlets. And not only is she being very creative and making amazing wines, but she also paints beautiful canvases. And they displayed these canvases all around the winery tasting room. So all the art that's on the walls, that adorns the walls while you're walking around, is beautiful art that was all painted by Janet. And one of the things I noticed when I was there, that a few of the paintings actually had a for sale sign on them. So I bet if you see one that you really love, talk to Janet, and I bet she'd be willing to sell it to you, and you can take that home. In addition to that amazing wine you're carrying with you in the other hand. And they've got lots of great events planned here at Portree Cellars. I know they're about to do a big Fiano event. Janet will mention that in the interview, to display kind of a vertical tasting of these different Fianos she's made over the years, ending with now their first estate Fianos. That's a really exciting event coming up. But they do a lot of different events, a lot of different things. Very spacious, beautiful tasting room. They've got lots of room outside. They've got food options, so you can get some great food while you're there. It's very family friendly. They've got an outdoor pavilion. I know they have cornhole out there. They have some bocce ball stuff for the kids. So you could go make a whole day of it and relax and enjoy the beautiful hill country scenery, great wine, and really great hospitality. And I can't emphasize it enough. Getting to have these estate wines that are now coming into the tasting room is a really exciting time for this winery and you as the customer, because now you're not just going to be tasting wines from fruit that was grown somewhere else. You really do get to taste those wines that originated right there on the property. And in the world of wine, that's really important. The sense of place. Somebody told me one time that wine is like a photograph in a bottle. It's a picture of a time and a place. You've got your vintage, what weather happened that year, what's going on in the soil that year in that particular location that makes it different from grapes grown somewhere else. And so to really be able to taste that, and you as the customer now get to go in and taste those wines that actually originated on property, is a huge milestone for any winery. And we get to celebrate in that and enjoy it together. Now, while I was there, I was lucky to sit down with Janet in the tasting room to pick her brain a little bit and to hear about their history, some of their vision, some of the exciting things they have going on and their plans for the future there at Portree. So let's go hear from her. Howdy, Vine Trippers. I'm here at Portree Cellars, and I'm here with Janet Miertschin, the owner and winemaker here. And we're going to hear a little bit about this fun destination and see their tasting room and hear all about the things that you're going to experience when you come to visit here at Portree Cellars as well. So without any more delay, let's go ahead and go to Janet. So Janet, tell me a little bit about yourself. What got you into the wine industry? What's your wine journey been?
Well, I've always enjoyed wine from early in our marriage. We went to Napa way back in the day. We've enjoyed wine and food, but it wasn't till a few years ago my husband said, I think we should grow grapes and make wine next. And
well, that's a little bit of a bomb drop.
Yeah, it was. And he was looking the other way, and I think my eyes rolled in my head. And I thought, no, don't be a negative Nelly. Just, it'll go away. You know, it's just a random passing thing. And he said, well, we've got this money set aside. I'm going to take some courses at UC Davis. They have an enology program. And of course, I, at that point, didn't realize what he was saying when he said he's going to take something at UC Davis. So he took all these classes.
He dove in.
He did. Organic chemistry, all this stuff. And so he got done. He said, we got to find some land. And we were both working corporate jobs in Houston. And I was like, this isn't really happening. I'm not telling anybody. Okay, yeah, we'll just get some land.
You still think this is a side hobby, right?
All right, whatever. So we bought this land here in High, near Stonewall, the middle of the wine road. And, we started clearing the land. It was raw land. But, again, it was on the weekends. I'm still working. I'm really thinking this is really not happening. And it wasn't until we hired a viticulturist and ordered vines, I thought, oh my gosh, it might be really happening. And so I still wouldn't tell anybody because I thought, well, yeah, who knows what this is really going to be. And then about that time, we started meeting people in the Texas wine industry. So I went to Grape Camp for the first time. And it was like a watershed moment for me. And so we were learning all about grapes and growing grapes. And people there were so friendly and welcoming and happy to be in this industry. And I thought, wow, this is not a corporate life, it's just very collaborative. And so I guess I got to drink the Kool-Aid, and so I, at that point, left my job and dove into this and didn't look back. I don't know. So it was really his idea. I did take the Texas Tech enology program, which was great. And been working in the cellar for 6 years now. And so yeah, I didn't realize it was going to be a lot of fun, a challenge, but a lot of fun. So
it really evolved.
It evolved. And my husband, I think he'll admit that it was his idea, but I think he probably had something, smaller and, it was like, whoa, she just took it and, ran. So, it's like, hey, we're in the middle of the wine road. We got to get going here,
If we're going to do this, let's do it.
That's right. That was exactly my thought. So here we are today. So
So in the agricultural terms, he planted that little seed and you kind of watered it, and now it's growing up into your dream here.
yes. And he loves plants. He loves winemaking. We have 7 acres of vines here on our property. And so in fact, he's out pruning today, hoping to beat the weather and the heat, and the bud break.
Yeah.
But he loves all of that. And I focus on the winemaking side. So yeah.
Yeah, I started in the corporate world before I started teaching. I worked for Apple Computer for 10 years, and I was so used to in the IT world with secrecy and, you can't let your trade thing out. You got to be very competitive and you can't, and when I first started this podcast, I was thinking, oh, I'm sure wineries are, they're very serious. And I was so surprised at how everybody just worked together and shared together and I was like, this is so different than what I expected. So
I know. It was just very refreshing, Yeah, because the first time somebody said, come over and we'll share with you our story and show you exactly. I thought, do I have to sign an NDA?
Exactly.
I'm like, no, I don't have to. Oh my God. It's going to take me a while to break these past habits.
I was like, that's really what it's all about. That community
Yes.
is amazing. So
Yes.
great stories. Okay, so tell me then about what year was that you bought this property and you got ready to start the tasting room?
We bought it in 2019.
Okay.
Started clearing the land almost immediately. Just raw land, no water, no electricity or anything. A lot of scrub oak.
Yeah.
And so by 21, we planted our first vines.
Okay.
So first 2 acres in the front, we've planted now 7 acres. So we have Mourvèdre, Aglianico, Malvasia Bianca, Tannat, Fiano, and Trigonational.
Ooh, Fiano, I like it. You've got some nice different style varietals that you don't typically see, especially in the Central Texas area. Now, I've heard of Malvasia up in the High Plains. I haven't really heard of anybody in the Hill Country growing it. So how's that working out for you? Does it grow really well here?
Yeah, it does grow well. And actually, I think all the varietals pretty much were ones that we thought we want to make wine out of. And so having something local in our estate vineyard would be good. I guess I don't know. I guess maybe the exception at the time when we had a viticulturist, Lydia Nita, and she said, I would plant something easy to grow because this is your first vineyard. And so she said, Mourvèdre, I can do that. It's a farmer's dream. It is. It grows straight up. It's very healthy. It's done really, really well. So that one, I love that. I have about 5 or 6 of them. So, but at the time it was like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And then we planted Aglianico, which is this wild and gangly thing. So we have a little bit of everything here.
Yeah. I could go stand in your vineyard for a while. You named a bunch of my favorite varietals right there. So excited to try some of those. Is there a significance to the logo here with like the stones and things like that next to the Portree Cellars?
Yes, there is. So the stones are cairns. And so in Scotland, cairns can mark your way. You set them, mark your way. But for us, it's a memory of all the work we put in because you may look around as you drive in or out and see like piles of rocks, which still haven't been moved. And so we think about all that work to clear land. And one of my early lessons was you don't move a rock twice. And some of those rocks are very large. And I remember when we planted the first 2 acres at the front, and we were starting to clear the back. And we had all these big rocks, which are, we'd put in the bucket of the tractor and then I'd go haul them off. And I was like, Mark, I had this great idea. We could just there's this low spot there near the trees. We could just line it with these rocks. He's like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. Oh no, I think it'd be a great idea. And so I just took it upon myself to start dumping these rocks out there. Right. And come spring, it was full of weeds. And it was like, oh, this looks horrible. And, snakes or what. I was like all these things. So I had to eat my words and go and repass rocks and move them to a different part of the property. So he was right. I was wrong on that. So yeah, so that was an early lesson. Don't move a rock twice. So yeah, that rocks, they really resonate with me a lot. So
I like that. Okay, so that was around 2021. And when did you get your tasting room built and open that to the public?
Well, okay. At the time we did the vines, I turned to my husband and I said, well, you took these classes at UC Davis. So we were making a wine at home successfully, but we can't do buckets for our tasting room. Right. So where are we going to go? You're going to design our winery? Because I thought you do the winery, then you do the tasting room. And he said, well, they didn't teach me that at UC And so
That class.
I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? And so again, we were plugging into the industry, and we met the folks over at Kerrville Hills, and they had an incubator, and their mission is to grow up the next generation of Texas winemakers. And so there were a lot of winemakers over there making their wine in advance of building their production. And so after talking to them, they said, well, do you know what kind of pump you need? What kind of tank? I'm like,
Not building an aquarium.
no, I don't know any of that. And so they said, why don't you come here, learn all about the equipment, what you like, what you don't like, learn about the winemaking process on a commercial scale, build your tasting room, sell your wine, and then build your production, which quite a few people have done that. And so I was like, okay, that makes it's very logical. I'm an engineer by training back in the day. And so I showed up over there 5-6 years ago, not really knowing anything about commercial production yet, and just dove in. And it was a little scary at first, but I just found that I loved it. And I loved working with my hands. I loved crafting a product that people could enjoy. I loved working with all these people. Some really, really late nights, but we crushed, I think the first year we crushed something like 350 tons. I only had 30, but I worked on all 350. And so you're learning from all these different people, all these other winemakers about what worked, what didn't, how they fixed it. And so I felt like I really got up the learning curve really quickly. And then I did that again next year, and the next year. And so then that afforded us the ability to focus on our tasting room. So we got the tasting room going, and we opened up at the end of 23. So
23, okay.
Yeah, so we've been open almost 2 years here, and still working on the vines, and have a production planned where we want to build over behind the cold storage. So yeah, so it's kind of not what I thought the order would be, but in the end, I think it's made a lot more sense.
Yeah. Well, and you'll be getting to, you're now coming into your 5th leaf on some of those grapevines. And so really starting to get good production out of those things.
Yes. So we're starting to see estate wines. We have a pink sparkling. We have a Mourvèdre in bottle. I have a Fiano that is getting released in a couple months. And then I have the other reds in barrel. So yeah, it's happening. It's really happening.
Yeah, it's interesting the stages that you've kind of gone through to see, from buying the land to then planting, and then thinking, okay, now we've got the tasting room, then you do the custom crush, and then there's so many stages that continue to lay out. And now you're getting 7 years after you bought the land, you're thinking about, okay, now we get to release the estate wines and things like that, which is a really huge chapter for any winery.
Yes. And it was fun building the tasting room. We wanted to build it. Portree is the name of a place in Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a little fishing village on the Isle of Skye. And we took a family vacation there, and it just brings back these memories of togetherness with people we love. And we thought it's really pretty, and thought, okay, we want something like, it's kind of sappy story, but it was like, that's what we want. We want something people come in, feel welcome. They enjoy themselves. We have great hospitality. We have nice views. We have a nice aesthetic, and they want to stay. That's really what we wanted. About the time that I was in denial that we weren't really going to do this, I started painting. I thought, well, maybe I'll do that in my next phase of life, not grape growing. And so then when we built this place, I was like, well, what are we going to put on the walls? And so I thought, well, I'll just paint something, And so I painted, a bunch of different things for the walls. So, and I'm starting to put things on my labels too. So I trying to wrap that personal passion into the winemaking part too. So
did you paint all this artwork that's around the tasting room? Mm-hmm. Wow, it's really beautiful.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of fun. It's one of those things you kind of, if you know it's for you, when you dive into it, and you kind of forget everything else, right? While you're digging.
You're in the world. Yeah. Like when you're making a wine as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I like get your own flavor into it, kind of like with a wine. So
yes, melding all that together has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, they're beautiful paintings around the location. Viewers can actually see a few of them here behind me. Great work.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so we've got this tasting room established. We know where it all came from. Let's talk a little bit about, we talked to somewhat with your fruit and the vineyard you have here. And since you're just now getting to your state fruit, I presume you also source from the High Plains a little bit and some other areas of Texas?
Yes.
Where else do you get your fruit?
Yes. So when we first started out, obviously we didn't have a vineyard. So I started probably in 2018 or 19, reaching out to different vineyard operators in the High Plains as well as in the Hill Country, and started just asking about, their fruit, going to visit them. We've got probably, I'd say 70% of our stuff is from the High Plains, the rest from the Hill Country. We've got a farm over in San Marcos that we source with. Before Uplift became Uplift, we were sourcing from Hoover. We've also got a number of places like, these are from the Phillips Vineyard up in Brownfield. John Friesen. I've got some in Neil Newsom's, some Leahy, Pepperjack Vineyard. So just a wide variety of vineyards, and all great growers, and just really, they do great fruit. They're easy to work with. They deliver and do what they say they're going to do. So continue to enjoy. I think because you can get a wider variety of things by going in different terroir, and they do harvest at different times. So you can kind of stage what comes in by having Hill Country and High Plains. I think we will always have a diverse set, but everything I do is 100% Texas. Okay. It's been that way from the beginning. And most of the things I do are single varietal, single vineyard. Okay. So I like that because if you've got a good grape and you can make a good wine, you get the time, the place. That means you're not going to get the exact same thing every year, but to me, that's the interesting part of it, because then you can do a vertical and you can have, we're going to do 6 Fianos in April. And so they're all, you can taste them and you go, oh, this is a Fiano, but it's like, well, this is a little different than this. So we're going to pair them all with food, and they're all going to go with a slightly different bite as a result of that. So I find that, to me, it's a little geeky, but for me, it's kind of one of the more interesting things about it. So I do have a couple blends, and kind of I wanted to see if I could do a blend, but that's, it just hasn't been my focus.
Sure.
I think when I started, John Rodenberg said, you should have 2 whites and 3 reds. Keep it simple, keep the SKUs down, it's easy to manage. And I think by the time I opened, I had probably close to 30. I've got 41 or something now. So clearly I don't follow instructions very well.
You forge your own path.
That's right. I don't like to eat the same thing every night. So who wants to drink the same thing every night? So yes, so I've got a few different wines. Okay. A few more to come.
And where are you processing those? You are still with Kerrville Hills?
Yes, still over at Kerrville Hills. I have a winery plan for over on our production, or for our site. But it's been a really good experience for me, because I've just learned, I think, so much more quickly. I have so many stories, but I remember the first year I was there, and it must have been one of the first times I was there. And it was an early part of the season. We had the destemmer, we had, the pump. We were going to pump all this stuff through to the tank. And it was 2 different pieces of equipment, and they weren't necessarily ordered together. They were separate. Okay. And we couldn't get the thing underneath for the must pump underneath the destemmer. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this is a major problem. I mean, how are you going to destem these, get them into that, pump that over to the tank? I just don't know how this is.
We have a roadblock here.
We have a roadblock, and this was just never happened. If you need like project planning, incorporate, And so then John looks at, he goes in, he brings 4 center blocks out, puts them underneath the destemmer, and all of a sudden it just slides right under. I was like, note to self, don't panic. There's always a solution, always a workaround. You just gotta step back and think about it. So there were numerous times like that when he or other winemakers, came up with solutions to things that, I might eventually have figured that out, but it just got me a lot more comfortable quicker and a lot more knowledge, things that didn't come in like somebody wanted. What did they do to fix it and make it better? And then some things that worked really well for somebody, you go, okay, I need to I need a note to self. Remember that. Yeah. So it's been really good.
Interesting. Experience breeds creativity, I guess, right?
Yes.
Because the more experience you have, I've seen this problem before. Let me show you how to solve this.
Yeah, I feel so much more comfortable. All right, it's all okay.
That's really great to have that surrounding cast of supporting actors to really help you shine and to get, lean on for those types of things.
Yes.
I like that solution.
Yes.
All right. So tell me a little bit about what you would say is your overall kind of winemaking style. Do you like to use a lot of barrels for your reds? Do you want the fruit to speak for itself? Do you do more for tastings or pairings? What's your winemaking style?
Okay. I like to make a really clean wine that can stand on its own, but is also very good with food. Okay. I like things that linger, that have, medium to long finish. Okay. I get really... I'm not really keen on drinking a wine that's gone as soon as that hits my tongue. So something that stays with you. I generally, for reds, I will use barrels. Okay. Quite oftentimes a mixture of French and American. Okay. About 30% new is what I like to do. Most of my whites and all of my rosés are unoaked. Mm-hmm. I do have a couple of whites that I have oaked, but not heavily, because there's not a lot of oakiness, but it adds a complexity to it. And again, I do 100% Texas, so that's I'm very passionate about that. Yeah. So, and mostly single varietals.
So would you say there's one thing that is a unique kind of characteristic about Portree Cellars that really kind of defines Texas winemaking and the spirit of Texas winemaking?
I don't know. I guess, Texans are kind of, they're very much what you see is what you get. And they're very much, kind of bold. And I kind of like to think that we are as well, kind of step into the space and lean into it and offer great service for people to come in, great hospitality. Texans are very hospitable. And I think that I want us to be, on the head of the curve in terms of that. We've got some great staff that do tasting. So if someone comes in the door, we have like 3 different levels of tasting that they can choose from. It's like usually 5 wines. And then we have a food menu that has flatbreads and spreads that we make in-house. Kind of enough to have a meal if you want, a light meal. And then we have things like bocce and cornhole and a fire pit. And so if you want to just kind of linger and hang out, we do a number of food wine pairing events. We've got the Fiona pairing coming up in April. We've got a Riedel wine experience in March that we're doing. Yes. And we're doing a 5-course calling it Around the World with Mark and Janet in March. We've done these wine dinners for about 20 to 30 people. And we do all the cooking and preparation. And this one is going to be a 5-course dinner based on all the places we've lived. We've been very fortunate in our careers to live in the UK, in Indonesia, Venezuela, LA, and Houston. And so we picked a food from each of those places, paired it with a wine, and we're going to do that in March. So that's going to be fun. So I always want to find fun and creative things for people to come in. We'd love people to come in and just enjoy the wine, but also, food, wine, music, do some different things. We have a wine club. We have pairings with the food and the new wines that come out, and we have music, and those are always a lot of fun too. Yeah. So, yeah. So try to keep it fresh.
Well, let's talk about the star of the show, some of the wines. What's your favorite, as a winemaker, what's your favorite varietal to work with? I know that, every wine's your child and you can't pick a favorite child, but just which one do you think is the one that I can't wait to work with this variety or whatever? Do you have anything like that that's kind of your favorite?
I really don't. Okay. Because I'd like every year that comes around, I'm like, okay, what new thing am I going to add? I want to have either a new twist on a varietal I'm working with, or a new grape that I bring in. Again, keeping it fresh. So it's really hard. There are some things that I do, like this is my first Touriga Nacional, but I've got a Touriga Rosé from the 3rd year that was kind of experimental. I was like, I need a Rosé this year. What can I use? And the Touriga was there, presented itself. I said, well, I'll try it. Why not? And has worked out really well. It looks almost like a light red wine, but it is It's pretty yummy. And then this is actually my first Picpoul Blanc. All these happen to be from the Phillips Vineyard, and but it was really fun to work with too.
Yeah.
I've got quite a few Fianos. Fiano is kind of near and dear to our heart because when we tried to figure out what to plant, we started taking Texas wine school classes and tasting all these wines, and we loved the imported Fianos. And so we're like, okay, we'll plant that. And couldn't find anybody initially that had that. In the end, we found Pepperjack Vineyard has it. So I started buying theirs. And so I have anything from a 21 all the way through a 25, and now I'm starting to have some of ours. And so I guess that one kind of resonates with me, and I've got quite a few of them, but I can't say that's my favorite because I have so many other favorites. And it really depends on what I'm eating and what I'm in the mood for. I really do like doing things new and different. So, that's sounds kind of hokey, but yeah, I probably could never work at a Gallo or something. I've worked at a manufacturer. I was working in the petrochemical industry before this, and it's all about manufacturing, getting costs down. It's repeatability, it's quality, and I think if you're going on HEB's shelves, you got to have that, and you're manufacturing a product that people are going to want to have again and again and again, and that's great. I just don't know that that's it's me. I kind of like coming up with something that's new and different. Yeah. And you probably, if you come in here and you want a Fiano, I'll happy to pour any of them, but do you know which one you like? Yeah. So it just, I don't know, it's just the variability is what the fun part is.
Getting to explore the vintage variation, especially that you get from year to year, especially in this Texas climate.
Yes.
That changes from every year to year.
Yes. I have a Petit Manseng. I have 4 Petit Mansengs. And that's kind of a little off the wall. There's not many. I think there's 2 vineyards in the state that have Petit Manseng.
Yeah, I know one.
Yes. And John Friesen is the one we get ours from. And it is one that we just happened into because we went up for a meet and greet and met him. He was kind enough to meet us out the vineyard, and he said, "Hey, would you like to buy some of this?" And I don't know what that is, but okay, sure. And it's made lovely wines. And so we did a vertical of that last summer, and people were like, "Oh, these are all so different," and John came and Anna. And it was just it was a very cool experience to experience the different years, the maturation of the vines. They could all be done basically in the same way, but they can come out different.
Sure.
Because each year is a little different. The vines are older. There's different, climate effects. So yeah, it's the variability makes it fun.
Well, so your wine situational. Whatever wine you're working with is your favorite wine to work with at that particular time. It doesn't
sound like that, doesn't it?
What about, are there any, as a winemaker, are there any varietals that you haven't yet had a chance to work with that you kind of always had this little sneaking thing behind you, think, I really wish I could work with this variety or whatever?
Well, I have only had one Montepulciano that I've done, and it has been very, very well received, such that now it's in the club only because I don't have very much of it left. And it was, again, it was probably a benefit of being at Kerrville because a lot of stuff was coming in there. Somebody said, "Hey, we have some extra, there's some Montepulciano coming in from Kenton County. Would you like some of that?" Okay. And so, sight unseen, sure. I have a hard time saying no to a grape. Yeah, I'll take some of that. And it came in, there was just beautiful. And it made this beautiful wine. So I think in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, I wonder if I can find another Montepulciano that looks like that. So I told Mark, I said, if we plant another acre, we're doing Monte. Okay. So we can control it.
That's your wife.
But yeah, make sure that comes out like we want, beautiful grapes, just the right time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of different varieties. To me, that's one of the great things about Texas is we're not all dialed in to one varietal or 2 varietal or 3. There's just, it's a wide open range. And I hope it stays like that because I just think that's one of the things that makes it kind of fun is to have that variability that people can explore. And I don't know how many people come in here for a tasting and they go, "I've never heard of that varietal. I've never heard of that." It's like, okay, it's an opportunity to learn and to share a new experience of something they wouldn't have had going to maybe HEB or, even to a restaurant. So, Yeah.
Do you have a specific varietal or varietals of wine that you find customers just keep craving for and saying, when are you going to get more of this? And I need more of this. And it keeps coming off the shelves.
The Montepulciano would be.
That's the reason it's the white whale, right?
Yeah, it is a white whale. It's like a gateway drug. I don't know what it is. Yeah, well, actually, I'd say all of these are our menu right now and have been very well received. We just released the Picpoul last couple of months ago. Same with the Touriga and the Touriga Rosé, and those have been super well received. The Picpoul was actually named a top 12 wine in Texas by Texas Monthly Magazine.
It's an honor.
So yeah, that was cool, and got a double gold in San Francisco. So that was exciting. And I got a gold out in San Francisco on my Touriga. So that was really kind of cool. So to me, it's more about validation for me, that people can, I can say, hey, somebody else besides friends and family thought it was good.
Exactly. And it's standing up against other wines of the same kind and getting these honors. That's a big deal.
Yes. So that it makes me feel like we're doing something right. So we got to continue. Yeah.
Great wines with great character. I love that. Well, let's talk about if a viewer or listener decides they want to come check out Portree. So they're getting a little bit excited now, hearing about some of these great varietals and different things they can try here. So what does a typical tasting look like? So if they came in to do a tasting here, do you have a set flight of wines that they would choose from, or do they pick the wines, and how much does it cost and things like that?
Yes. Right now we've got 2 flights that are $25 for 5 wines. We have a white and rosé, and we have a mixed. We're getting into warmer months, so we've seen more people wanting to do whites. We also have a elevated tasting, which is $35, and so it contains some of our most awarded wines. It's predominantly red, so one white and reds. So it gives people hopefully a range of things to select from. Our servers will guide you through if you want to know. If you don't want to know anything about the wines, that's great. But they're ready to educate you, to tell you a bit about us, about the wines, where they come from, what they pair with. So you can kind of learn a little bit as you go. We want to make you comfortable at home. There is, like I said, food menu if you want to have some bites to kind of complement the wine. And then you're welcome to stay and linger and enjoy a bottle or take some bottles home. So yeah, we've got a lot of outdoor seating, and the weather's getting better. So if you want to kind of hang out outside, or we've got quite a bit of room inside as well. So,
do they need reservations for those tastings?
Well, if they're a larger party, it is better. Yeah, like 6 or more, it's nice because then we can kind of make sure we have a
Space.
Yes, and we're kind of ready for you.
Okay. Can they make those reservations online, or do you need a call?
Yes, either one.
Either one.
Yes.
Okay. You talked about food a second ago. So you've got this great kitchen with all these different small bites and things that customers can get here. Can they bring their own food if they have like food allergies or different things like that? Or would you prefer them to just leave that at home?
Yeah, we do have some gluten-free options.
Okay, great.
So if you have something, we try to keep nuts out of everything as well for people who have nut allergies. If you do have some kind of allergic thing though, and you need to bring it, we've had people that say, I can't eat anything, but I want some crackers and I got to bring my own. Okay, fine. We'll try to cater to everything we can, but there's always somebody that maybe falls out of that.
Sure. What about, are you family friendly? If somebody has kids they need to bring with them, is that okay?
Yes, we're both pet and kid friendly.
That's my next question.
Yes. We do ask that you have your dog on a leash if you can. There's a lot of area outside to roam around, and I think, particularly for kids, with the bocce and the cornhole, and we've got cornhole out in our covered pavilions so they can kind of hang out, and we've got families that'll come out there and just kind of camp out there for a little while, and the parents can drink and eat, and the kids play bocce or something. So it's So we want to make it approachable for everyone. Again, everybody come and be part of our family. So
you mentioned a moment ago, if somebody has a group of 6 or more, reservations preferred. Do you have any maximum group sizes? Tour bus pulling into the parking lot or things like that? Do you guys say, oh, we only want groups of a certain size?
Well, this room will seat, I think it's like 56 people.
Okay.
And so we do rent the space out. We've also had some larger groups come in, like a bus group, but they're again with some notice because obviously there's sometimes people in this room, other people. But yeah, we can definitely do seated tastings or with food. We've also rented it out for like weddings, rehearsal dinners, graduation parties, showers, and that sort of thing. So yeah, so we try to open it up for lots of opportunities.
Nice.
So
Lots of variability there.
yeah.
What about your busier and slower seasons? What's the best time to come visit?
Well, I think in the Texas Hill Country, spring and fall are the best. I mean, I say the best because you have cooler weather. You've got a lot of vines or, with either grapes or the budding out. However, I will say if you come in January or August, you're going to get more time with me, Mark, whoever is running that tasting room because it's a little quieter then.
Okay.
So if you're looking for some interaction with the people that are doing the business and working there, I think the quieter times is a nice time to come. So it depends on what kind of person. If you like the hustle and bustle of, being there in the midst of it all, April, May, and October, November, December.
Yeah.
So.
And we're about to get into the spring wildflower season.
Yeah.
Where this area out here is known for lots of wildflowers, everything as well. So the drive out here would be gorgeous too.
Yes. We've had some gorgeous bluebonnets on some of these roads coming down to us. And we've had bluebonnets are starting to kind of populate here, so which is nice. Yeah. And so hopefully we'll get a little more rain to kind of encourage things along. But yeah, that's a really nice time. And when the buds are coming out and you're seeing all this growth, it's like, it's coming.
It's a tease.
I know.
Well, you mentioned a moment ago that you had a wine club. So let's say our listener and viewer has tasted these great wines and they're thinking, wow, this is really good stuff. I need to sign up for the wine club. Can you tell me a little bit about the details of the wine club?
Yes. We've got several different levels. We have a case club, which is 12 bottles. All of them are 4 times a year. The Case Club, Founders Club, is a completely customizable, and that's of all of our 40 wines. It's not just a few wines, but you can basically pick. We send out an email out to our 6-bottle and our 12-bottle club members 2 weeks before the club ships or packs out, and you can customize. So those are I'd say our 6-bottle is probably our most popular.
Yeah.
And then we have 3 different 3-bottle. We have a all white, an all red. No, all right, all red, yes, and a mixed. And the 3 bottles are selected by me. But we always put our newest wines in there. So there's usually 1 or 2 new wines in those shipments every time. This last one, we had 3 new wines in there. So, trying to get new things out for people to try. So you can sign up online or you can come in here and sign up either way. And we love to have people in the club and want to have you for a long time and enjoy getting to know you over time.
Yeah. And they can sign up online or in the
Tasting room. Yes.
either way. Well, I'm sure I've got some viewers out there as well that are thinking, well, I'd really like to get there, but I'm too far away or just can't work out schedules at the moment. Do you do any kind of distribution or do you sell on your website?
Yes, we sell on our website, so we can ship to you pretty much everywhere. Okay. We aren't doing a broad distribution, but we're getting into different restaurants, a few markets. So if someone's looking for it and they want to call us, we could tell them maybe where to find it locally, but it's probably more select, outside of here. Okay. So as we grow, we'll probably grow a bigger presence. But
So we talked a little bit about the development of your location here. We've got the vineyard growing. I see it out there. And you've got the tasting room here. We've got your estate wines coming up. You talked a little bit about building this production facility. Do you have other plans for future growth? Or is it right now you're locked in on that production facility?
Well, we've got some other things. We did a brainstorming session recently with some club members. And one of the things they said is they would like to see a pergola down here, which is this. So something, to kind of expand our reach out there, some additional landscaping, some things to kind of beautify, make it a little bit even better, there's a place that you want to come and hang out. So we've got some things like that. The additional acreage on the vineyard side. So I think maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I don't want to promise when that'll come, but yeah, that's on. That's on. And then I think just gradually getting out there into the market and spending more and more time on the road, doing tastings with restaurants, with different event centers, with different markets, small markets.
Yeah.
So I think partnering with other local people in Texas that appreciate great Texas wine. That is really what we're looking to promote and grow. I think Texas has a lot to offer. I think it's starting to get a lot more notice around the world as a really nice wine, area. I think it's matured and grown a lot. And there's some really good, the fact that you're competing with California and other places around the world, I think people are noticing that. And so I want to be part of that. I want us to be offering not only a great experience, but great wines. And so people around the world even will say, wow, that's, that's somebody I want to go visit. And I want to go to that Texas wine region because they've got great stuff. So
We talked about you have about 7 acres under vine. How big is your whole property?
28.
28. Okay. So
we have
2 acres.
a
Still
little
lots of room to grow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of great places in Texas that people can go to drink some great wine, as you just mentioned. So what, in your opinion, sets Portree Cellars apart that would make my viewers say, I really got to move this up my list and get there as soon as I can?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good question because we asked that question of our club members. So we did this brainstorming, and the thing that they said to us is it just feels so comfortable. Me and Mark are here most days, and so you get connections with the owners, which is maybe a little different than some places you go. And it's small enough to feel cozy, but big enough to feel like you have space to roam. I think the wines are very good. I think people really enjoy the art on the bottles, art on the walls. And there's a lot of different types of events and things you can get involved with. So, and the people that come in here are really nice people. We really enjoy that. So I think if you're looking for a place that you can kind of find comfortable, cozy, you enjoy wine, you enjoy food, you like hanging out, getting to know people, that we're your place.
Okay.
So.
Well, if anyone knows about the visitor experience at Portree Cellars, it's their wine club members. So take it from them and go visit Portree Cellars. You can experience those great wines, check out that great art, and relax in a really comfortable environment. I'm here to tell you, Portree Cellars should be your next stop on your wine journey. Now, as always, make sure to check out their website before you go visit them. It's www.portreecellars.com. That's PORTREECELLARS.com, as you see there. And on their website, you're going to actually find a great place to go in and make reservations for your tasting when you go to see them, so they'll be prepared for you and you get the best possible service. You'll also be able to go on that website and read a little bit more about their story, a little more beyond what you hear in the interview today. You'll be able to read about their sustainable vineyard practices that they're trying to do in their 7-acre vineyard. And you can buy their wines directly on their website there to have them shipped to you, so that if you can't get to Portree Cellars for whatever reason, there's no reason why you can't taste those amazing wines. You can have them sent directly to you. And if you love them, like I think you're going to, and you want to sign up and join their wine club, then you can do that right there on their website as well. Really quick and easy process. You'll also find other great info about what to expect when you visit and news items about Portree and things like that on their website. And don't forget, when you go to see them, make sure you tell them you heard about them on this podcast, Texas Under Vine. All right. After we concluded the interview, Janet led me into the tasting room so I could actually sample some of their great wines and got to go through several of the different wines they have. One of the ones that was fun was the one that we've mentioned a few times already, that Estate Fiano, one of their first estate wines. Fiano, for those that don't know, is an Italian grape. It is a white wine that is made from this grape. And you don't see it a whole lot. I'm starting to see a couple of wineries here in Texas that are doing it, but it's a great wine. Janet does an amazing job with it, and you'll get to see and taste that when you go. And if you really like Fiano, make sure you look forward for that event that she's going to do of the tastings of the verticals of that. But they have all kinds of wines for any palate. They have whites, they have rosé, they have reds, they have a sweet. So no matter what your palate is, you should be able to find something that you'll enjoy there at Portree. I'm sure of it. And as you viewers know, it's time for me to pick my favorite bottle from the tasting that I decided to buy and bring home for my episode wine library that I have here at home. I have one bottle from every podcast episode that I've done. And so I always pick my favorite one. So this time, again, as always, there were several that really caught my eye. Matter of fact, she had one that was really one of my favorite varietals even. And I was trying to decide and pick, but when it came down to it, my first impression on this particular wine was beautiful. It just had a gorgeous, luscious mouthfeel. So that is the 2021 Mourvèdre from Vineyards. And this is just such a great wine. One of the things I love about Mourvèdre is such a versatile grape. The winemaker can do so many different things with Mourvèdre. I've had Mourvèdres that are deep and earthy. I've had Mourvèdres that are bright and just really hit you right in the face when you take a drink from it. Really fruity, a lot of different characteristics that can come out based on how you handle that Mourvèdre fruit and the way you make it in the production facility. But this one, it was just really beautiful. It was very full mouthfeel. I really felt like I never lost the flavor of it from my first sip all the way till the end. In the wine world, we call that a long finish. So it had a really nice long finish to it, just continually maintain that flavor. Beautiful nose. Again, very luscious, silky mouthfeel, bright red fruits in this. It just really made an impact on me from the first sip. And so when all was said and done, even though one of my favorite varietals was out there, I had to come back to this one and say, this is the one for my episode wine library. So you're going to need to check this one out when you go. It's the 21 Mourvèdre from Vineyards. And when you go to do your tasting, make sure you ask for that one and taste that yourself. I bet you'll want to take a bottle home as well. All right, the time has come to use all those cairns that are stacked up, those stacks of rocks that are all around, to use for navigation, to navigate on further down the wine road to some other great Texas wine destinations, so I can bring you all the great information of these amazing wine destinations. Before I go, however, would you be willing to give me a rating and review? If you're enjoying this podcast and enjoying the information that I'm bringing to you, and hopefully going to visit these great locations you get to hear about or see if you're watching this on YouTube, then I would love for you to give me a rating and review. So you can go wherever you get the podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any of the podcatchers, you can go in and do a rating and a review there and tell me what you think of the show. Let other people know if I'm providing a great service to people so we can get this in front of more people who love Texas wine or who don't yet know they love Texas wine but want to know they love Texas wine, and spread the good word, spread great wine across the state and even outside of the state. Go in and tell me what you think about the podcast. It's free, and I really do love the feedback that I get from you guys. And I also have a merchandise store. If you want to support your Texas Under Vine logoed items, you can go to the Texas Under Vine website and go to the top to the merchandise store link and find, I have multiple things out there, items of clothing. I have some wine tumblers, some different things. You can go out there and look up that stuff and get yourself your own Texas Under Vine logo merchandise. And lastly, if you are listening to this episode, did you know that we do this as a video podcast? So I know some of you like to listen to it because it's easy in the car to listen to things while you're driving to wineries or things like that. But I do actually do this as video. So on YouTube and my YouTube channel at Texas Under Vine, you'll find a video version of this podcast with everything from this part, the intro, the outro, the interview, everything video based. So if you haven't checked out the video version of the podcast, go to YouTube and subscribe there and check it out. And for those of you that are currently watching this on YouTube, don't forget, go down below, click the like, follow, and subscribe options, and leave me a comment down below. So again, I love to hear what people think of these locations. So if you have been to Portree Cellars before, leave me a comment about what's your favorite thing about this location. Or if you haven't been, but you're getting excited now because of the interview and what you've heard from Janet, then leave a comment down below and tell me that. Or just leave me a comment and tell me whatever you want to about the podcast. I love feedback. And with that, my time is up. So don't forget, subscribe to the podcast and follow my socials to be notified anytime a new episode is released. And until then, happy trails and bottoms up, y'all.
Thanks for listening to Texas Under Vine. We strive to provide you with the best information about wine businesses all over Texas. Be sure to check out our website at texasundervine.com and follow us on our socials at Texas Under Vine to stay up on all the upcoming episodes. Please email us with any suggestions or feedback.
Also, contact us if you're interested in donating, sponsoring, or advertising on the podcast, just to help us cover our expenses and bring even more great info to you in future episodes. Above all, travel safely, and most especially, drink responsibly.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. Before we go, I wanted to direct you to my website, www.texasundervine, because there you're going to find a whole host of things. Besides access to the audio versions and the video versions of the podcast, you can also get those on any podcast provider and then the video on YouTube. But there you're going to find a couple of things. Did you know that I actually sold some Texas Under Vine merchandise? I only have a handful of items available, about 5 different things, but they are up on my store. So if you go to the website, texasundervine.com, and go to the top, you're going to see a link for the merchandise store, and there you can get your own Texas Under Vine swag to proudly show all of your friends that you support the Texas wine industry, and you can get them started on and hooked on the podcast as well, so they can go visit even more of these great wine destinations. But in addition to the store, I also have a Patreon for my subscribers, people that support this show. I do this all out of a work of love from my heart. I do not make any money on this podcast. I'm actually in the red because I support it all out of my own pocket as a teacher. And it's mainly because I love wine and I love the Texas wine industry. So if you're willing to help me do that and you'd like to see more of these great episodes, hear more from these amazing winemakers, learn more about some fun destinations for you to go and visit on your own, I would appreciate if you would be willing to subscribe to my Patreon. So at the top of my website page, again, you'll find a Become a Patron link. And there you can get all the information about becoming a subscriber to the podcast here as a Patreon subscriber. It only costs a few dollars a month if you're willing to commit that. And there are various levels that you can commit to that each give you behind the scenes benefits that you don't get. And I do have some new things in the pipeline coming down soon. So you want to get on that sooner than later. But right now you can get things like behind the scenes photos at different wineries. You can get things like at one level, you'll get a video walkthrough of the winery. So for every episode, I will post a video walkthrough of me taking you through the winery itself so you can see what it's like before you go. And then at one level, you can even find out before everyone else where I'm headed the next week on the show as it comes out. So you'll know before everyone else. You get a sneak peek. So there's just different levels of benefits and they all cost a different amount. And as you subscribe, you become the heart of this podcast. You really are what helps me succeed. You are my community and my people. And thank you so much for those that do subscribe. So if you're interested in joining Patreon, check the Become a Patron link at the top of the website. So again, the website is www.texasundervine.com. You can also go to all of my socials. I'm at Texas Under Vine on almost all the social accounts. And check it out and consider sponsoring the podcast and maybe even buying some of that really cool swag on the merchandise store. Happy trails and bottoms up, Vine Trippers.